Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Seahawk Talk here on the Salve Athletics Network, broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli, here on September 21st. Here on the Seahawk Talk program, we have got a loaded show for you here today. A re-entry Monday. We'll be joined by Athletic Director Jody Mooradian, our head men's lacrosse coach, Patrick Cooney, and our baseball coach, head coach, Eric Cirella will be joining the program here today. So a lot to get to, and we're just going to jump right in and remind you to keep your distance. That is Ed Habishaw with his rendition of Keep Your Distance from The Shake, local Rhode Island band with a, that's an old song, but a relevant message. So as always, we remind everybody to keep your distance, stay safe, socially distance, all that sort of stuff. I'd like to bring in the producers now, though, to open the show. Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco. Guys, how we doing?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, doing good.
Doing good. I wanted to lead the show with something that I'm sure everybody's been paying attention to yesterday and this morning, and something that I'm going to tie in. I think it's relevant for us here at Salve. So yesterday in the NFL, the story was the injuries to big name players, to just the sheer amount of players who went down. And I'm just going to run down this list really quickly here. And there's a lot of big names in here. Saquon Barkley, knee injury. Sterling Shepard, toe. Jimmy Garoppolo, high ankle sprain. Nick Bosa, knee. Solomon Thomas, knee. Raheem Mostert, knee. Drew Lock, a busted up shoulder. Paris Campbell, knee. Malik Hooker, Achilles. And just you see, shoulder, concussion, ribs, ankle, concussion, knee, groin, knee, Achilles. It was just a devastating day in the NFL. It's been a really bad week. And part of this, a lot of the conversation has been that this was kind of maybe expected. In 2011, when they had a lockout season and came back, and that was just guys being away from team facilities, not even the scope of a pandemic, there was a big uptick in those sorts of ligament injuries in the first 5 weeks. We're seeing that now already. I think people want to think it's maybe an outlier. It might be the tip of the iceberg, because you think they only had 3 weeks of training camp, no preseason, and then boom, right into games. And I think the lesson, and it's kind of, we talked on Friday about the positives that we can, that teams can take with not having fall sports and having all this time to get ready for the winter and the spring. This is the time to get ready. The science says 6 to 8 weeks of that gradual acclimatizing, training, and everything. That's right now. So for all our athletes, pay attention to what's happening at the pro level. This is your time right now to gradually train properly, get ready, acclimatize yourself, and just slowly ramp up for your seasons in the winter/spring. That way, what's happening now at the pro level doesn't happen here. Because it's easy to just think, I've been resting, and then, we had all this time to rest. We should be fresh. Well, you got to get your body ready for it. And we have the time to do that. You didn't have whatever you could or couldn't do in the summer. Now you'll have that time to be with your team, with trainers and everybody, and ramp up for the season. So just wanted to pass the message along. And I know we were talking before the show, Mike. I mean, you're an athlete. You know this stuff. How does this news kind of maybe impact how you approach the fall? Like, all right, maybe I really do want to pay attention and slowly ramp up and get ready for the spring, when maybe it was just maybe not on the mind as much.
No, right. I mean, and that's the thing, there's no way to accelerate that sort of conditioning that you need to kind of implement yourself before, and there's no way to make up for that. So you can't just say, well, you gotta just train more, or do this certain type drill. Like, it has to be there. You have to be able to do that sort of thing, especially in football and drilling and contact drills. making sure that your body's able to take those hits. So the first time you go out, you're not getting injured. So that's something to watch out for. Me personally, I was a little bit lucky. We started playing this summer, but even then I was still out since we went back in about March, early mid-March, and then I was out until about July. We started playing again then. And even that first 2 weeks back, beyond just like my body, like the first time I went to start running down a baseline, like it just feels tighter. One of our friends fell down on his first time trying to run down the first baseline. Yeah, like no, that's just getting your body back, because that's why it's really important. So if you're an athlete and you haven't already, I highly recommend you just start slowly, like just getting yourself back into it if you haven't already. If you haven't already, you're already behind the 8 ball, so to speak.
Yeah. Joe, any thoughts on the injury thing?
Yeah, just thinking like I'm not even an athlete, but like just working out. Like if I go out and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start trying to lift like 100-pound weights, like maybe I can do it, but I'm gonna hurt a lot afterwards. So like obviously you gotta work your way up to it. Like even these super tough guys, even they can do it. The body, you get stiff and stuff, and like I can't even imagine like a lot of those injuries, like those gotta like hurt like so bad. I can't even imagine what it's like to tear anything. Like,
and a lot of it, you can't do much for your ligaments. You can only really work on your muscles. Your ligaments are your ligaments, and doesn't matter if what you could do. Like Mike back in the spring, doesn't matter where you felt you were at. You have to slowly ramp up to it, because some of these injuries, non-contact, guy just puts his foot in the ground to go make a cut, and pop, there goes an Achilles, and that's just so unfortunate. And so hopefully hopefully this is an outlier of a week. Unfortunately, I think just what we know based off the science, it could get worse. Hopefully not, and hopefully everyone at the college level, who maybe it's unfortunate that we have, that we're not playing right now, take the time to train properly and prepare yourself so that this isn't an issue for us in the spring. So just wanted to get that message out there. Any other thoughts from you guys here at the top of the show?
No, other than that, only other thing I wanted to highlight, Bryson DeChambeau did win the U.S. Open this weekend in big sports news, so that was huge. He won it in a landslide too, 6 under. The next closest guy was just dead even. So honestly, it wasn't even. I checked out at about before the back nine. I was like, this one's in the books. But just wanted to highlight that he's a great up and comer. So really excited to see how his career is going to keep going.
Yeah.
For me, I guess I'll mention Naomi Osaka, who won the U.S. Open. Apparently, she just won it too hard, so she's not going to be playing in the French Open because she pulled a hamstring, which is kind of unfortunate. It would have been nice if she could like sweep the whole thing, because she's been doing really well. But let somebody else win. She's just doing it to be nice.
Yeah, follows that injury trend.
Yeah, I know. So across all, there's not much.
No one is immune.
Close contact in tennis, so it's all that running, jumping, sprinting type stuff.
Swinging,
got to get used to it. So anyway, guys, we'll come back to you later on to close the show. Maybe one of you will host here at the end. I don't know. Tease that a little bit, but great work, guys, and we'll talk to you later on in the show. All right, we're going to go now to our Salve Regina University Athletics Athletic Director, Jody Mooradian, joins the program. Jody, welcome to the show. Oh, I think you're on mute. It's okay. I've done it a million times. We're all guilty of it. So now we can say hello to Jody.
You spoil us so much in the green room that I keep forgetting to unmute because I'm enjoying the snacks and beverages. So thank you.
Always trying to give you guys some entertainment.
It's just like the virtual Emmys around here.
Yes. I'm sure every week has just been like, all right, this is a busy week. Let's get through this week. And then the next week, okay, no, this is a busy week. Let's just get through this week. Every week brings something new, different challenges, different things to overcome. How has the ramp up been from through last week to now of getting our fall sports, not competing, but trying to get them kind of off of what we were talking about here at the Open, acclimated, beginning that training and practice process? How has the ramp up been for the fall sports here in this past week?
It's just been such an interesting time since spring even. It's just we spend all summer planning. So we thought, oh, this, we've got it and we're under control. And then everybody's back. And all of a sudden, there's new little glitches. And so it's been very busy. But I'll tell you what, there's no better feeling than finally getting it going. And I just, even though we see people with masks on, which is different, it's just so good to see people. And I think everybody's so excited. And it's just a new normal, though, because honestly, coaches want to coach. And when you have a goal, so it's a whole new system where you're spending a lot of time just training, which in the long run's better, but it's a new type of focus. So it's been exciting the last 2 weeks, and it's just, we still never know what's going to happen next. And as we always say, you can only control what you can control. But it's just gotten to the point with what next? Like, what next? But I feel really good. Our students are doing the right things. We ask them to, wear masks. I've been surprised how compliant it seems that we all are. I've been very happy, but also it's hard to imagine. We have like 560 student athletes. Every time I see them, or we ask a coach to do something, it's all done. So it's been great just seeing them out and about.
Well, we've given them like some really, some masks with some swag. I mean, those things look pretty good. Yeah, those. I mean, who wouldn't want to wear that? I mean, they look good. So it's easy. We gave a little style for the athletes to have.
That's why we gave them, because whenever you make something special for the athletes, then it is special.
Oh, kids love the swag.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the fall, and it feels like, we're just leaving like the spring and the summer. Granted, it was like 36 degrees last night.
Yeah.
But winter, it doesn't seem like it's on our mind, but it has to be, because the winter is like what everybody's like really actually focused on is that those January dates of having basketball and ice hockey, the first teams to come back. How is it managing their preparation, as they're really the ones who probably are trying to chomp at the bit most to want to get ready, because they're the ones who are going to have games first, hopefully.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll start having the ability to compete January 1st. So, normally we'd be competing in about 3 weeks, but so they're doing the same thing, trying to get through all the COVID mandates and get started. And so, hard to believe, but they're going to start practice in a week and a half.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks, I guess. But so we are still waiting, trying to determine, obviously everything about winter is the same as every other. In order to compete, we have to feel confident that the student athletes will be safe. So again, we're trying to ramp it up, but they're going to have a long time to practice and grow before they get to compete.
Yep. A lot of people talk, when sports were coming back over the summer at the professional level, the dreaded asterisk season. Should there be an asterisk? And people have applied that to college. Should there be asterisks on this season? And it always seems like it has like a negative connotation, like, oh no, that year doesn't count. That's the asterisk year. I think I've said personally, and I want to get your thoughts on this, that there should be an asterisk, but it should be a positive one.
Right.
People should look back and say, that's the year we did these 8 million things to get ready, these 10 million things to just make the games happen, and then this is what we accomplished. It's a positive asterisk. I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, one, it's because you think positively, and I agree with you, because I think it's definitely an asterisk, because probably the number of games will be less, and the NCAA has already determined that the championships will be smaller. So pretty much the field will be based on whoever has the AQ from the conference. So in a way, there's no room for error. So I think the season's going to be more exciting, because every single game counts, and the championship will count. So you're going to want to make sure you get the best seed in the conference championship. And I think there could be an asterisk, but just getting through this, and I bet in theory, they'll be more developed at the end of this year because they spent so much time on skills and growing as athletes that hopefully the asterisk means these were our very best athletes.
Yeah. Talk about, you're going to be part of this speaking series, I think, Women of Mercy, Mercy Leadership at Salve, Part 1. So, you know, multiple installments, but tell me what that is all about and what you're excited about to contribute towards that.
I think, well, what's so special about Salve is the Mercy mission, and it means, how do we lead? How do we grow? How do we help people grow with still a sense of responsibility to all and to the whole person? So I've always thought that athletics fits so into Mercy leadership. Obviously, our student athletes grow as leaders, but we're also able to appreciate them as people. So it's more than just faith, and it's really about being able to grow as a whole person, to care about people, and kind of the whole theory, don't leave anybody behind. So in sports, you're as good as the last person off the bench. Like, you want everybody to be able to contribute. And to me, that's totally Mercy leadership. So in a department like ours, every single person in our department matters. Like, you go right down to whoever's game manager for some sport, that's the person that makes everyone comfortable. Or, I mean, just every single issue that we face, it's top to bottom. And I think that's what Mercy is. It's just letting people grow, helping people grow, and taking care of each other through it. And that's what makes success. And especially in athletics, we can see our success is based on that foundation. So I think Salve does a good job in recognizing people and letting different voices be heard. So I'm glad, really glad to be part of it. And there's going to be some other functions that athletics will be joining in the student athletes. So it's going to be great.
Yeah. This weekend, I had this thought. I was driving. I was on Aquidneck Island. I was heading up to Portsmouth. And it was Saturday. You know, it was around like 10, 11 o'clock. And I'm thinking, you know, right now, like under normal circumstances, I'd probably be driving to Gaudet Field to like cover a game. I wonder what I'd be doing. And it's been weird. I think we've all talked about it. Like, normally our Saturdays are taken up. You know, it's great.
Yep.
We got games. And then Sunday's about, you know, kind of working over what happened last week and preparing for Monday, and off we go. And it just goes over. And so we don't usually have weekends in athletics. Now we do. What have you been doing with that, like almost like newfound, like almost weird free time that we have right now on the weekends?
Yeah. Well, I watched the Boston college football game, so I guess I am glad it's back, because that's a tradition. But I know it's amazing, because we used to always think, wow, people have whole days off. I think, again, the way we say, when you're busy, you get more done. Like, so when we were busier, but we're still all busy. We're still talking to each other. It's just the nature of where we are at this moment, where you don't get to totally relax ever, but I miss it. I can tell you that. It's just, the fall is not the same without sports. And even, I mean, we love every sport, but as I've said before, you know, my whole life, I grew up every Saturday at a football game, and it's so, I mean, literally. And so it's too bad, but we'll be back. And anyway, it is fun to watch whatever's on now. Yeah,
I've been to that field that has your family name on it.
Yep, Mooradian Field. Not named after me, named after my father, but I like to tell people that.
One of the things that came up last week, and this is like becoming a running theme, we had this discussion over what's easier or what's harder to do, throw a no-hitter in a game or hit a hole-in-one. So anybody that I know that golfs, we've been asking this question. I know we'll probably ask Eric Cirella this later on in the program, but have you ever hit a hole-in-one?
No, I've probably been like a foot away. I think it'll be interesting what Eric says, because but throwing a no-hitter, you're relying on a lot of factors. Like, you have to make sure people are catching the easy ball flies or whatever. Hole-in-one's all on you.
Yeah. I feel like
So-
everybody's got that story of the a big fish that got away. Everybody is like, oh no, I was close.
Yeah.
I was
I was
We all have
really
that story.
close. No, not that close, but good. Yeah, I'll have to watch now because I want to see Eric's answer.
Anyway, Jody, thank you for coming on today. Great stuff as always, and good luck with again, like you said, every day is a new day, and we don't know new challenges, but we're continuing to stay together and work through it. And excited to talk to you again next week.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that's Jody Mooradian, head athletic director here at Salve Regina, and we're going to turn now to our head men's lacrosse coach, Pat Cooney, and it says no Patrick yet, says Jody Mooradian from the backstage. So we'll actually take a very quick break and then be back with Pat Cooney of our men's lacrosse team. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back to Seahawk Talk. Andrew Pizzoli here, hosting the program today, and I'd like to bring in now our head men's lacrosse coach, Patrick Cooney, to the program. Pat, how we doing?
Good. How you doing, Andrew?
Good. I wanted to start first talking about you wanted to talk about your captains, and I've spoken to a lot of the coaches. This is that time we're all announcing our captains and the who will be the leaders for your team. Who will be your captains this year, and how much are you going to lean on that leadership, whether it's captains or seniors, in a fall season like this, preparation-wise, and getting ready for the uncertainty of a spring? How much are you going to lean on those people on your team, especially this year?
Well, I think you're going to see all the respective teams and coaches rely on their captains, senior leadership, and leaders throughout the team. This year, we're lucky we do return all of our captains. Even graduating senior Ethan Robeson's going to be returning for a graduate year, along with Pat Leary and Chris Sheehan. They'll be our three team captains again for the 2021 season. And this year, what we did was we thought it prudent, especially with on and off campus groups, to have what we term class captains as well. More leadership opportunities. We have a bigger roster. And then with those on campus can bridge to those captains who are essentially off campus at times.
Yeah.
For seniors, we all had Marco Mangelli, Bailey Stranges, and we also had one other. In addition, we had juniors Cole and Tyler Neufeld, sophomores Joe Tellini and Patty. All outstanding guys in different respects, not just on the field, but off the field.
Yeah. In general, what are usually your expectations for captains? What, when you're looking at somebody and say, hey, you've been voted a captain or we're picking you as captain, these are, for Salve Regina men's lacrosse, these are the things we expect of you.
Well, we talked to the captains about first accepting that responsibility. That comes to a consensus. We do vote for captains as players, and then coaches have input as well. And then we ask the individual to accept that responsibility, to represent the school, to represent the sport, to represent all of us.
Yeah. What is your outlook for the CCC this spring? Obviously, we all know there's a lot of unknown. But what is things going to look like from a competition standpoint for the CCC this year for the spring?
The conference is doing very well. The biggest knock might be our youth compared to some of the more established programs, in particular the NESCAC in New England, which has been around for decades. The CCC is much younger, but no less competitive, especially the last 5 years. And I see the middle part of the CCC really competing at the highest levels in New England now. It's always fair to say that Western New England, who won it 2 years ago, is always the cream, along with Endicott at the top. Both have, over the last decade, shared many different conference championships. But you're seeing University of New England, you're seeing Curry, you're seeing ourselves, Salve, Roger Williams, a number of Nichols, a number of different schools do very well. Wentworth's had good opportunities over the last few years. So it's great to see the growth of the conference overall, and it helps all of us get better.
Yeah. You brought up something in our little pre-show questionnaire talking about alumni, and, what do you look for in an athlete when you're recruiting them, but also the mindset that I'm not just recruiting somebody to come here and compete and help me win games for 4 years. We're recruiting people to be part of this culture of the team, and it's an investment, not just in those 4 years, but people who are going to want to stay around, stay involved, and be vocal in support of the program. So it's really a long-term investment in the program as a whole. I thought that was really interesting, and maybe just expound upon that.
I think all of us, for the most part, as coaches, are looking for students who want the university you represent. So I would term it a first choice college. So I'm looking for students that want us for the academic, the social, yes, the cost, but some of the intangibles, including Newport geography, proximity to home, a lot of things come into play. Every family's different. But I think at the end of the day, you want a student who wants to be here. That individual is going to most likely flourish on and then off the field in the classroom as well. And that leads to high retention rates, graduation rates, happy campers, good word of mouth, and then ultimately what they term reinvestment. It's termed the 3 R's of higher ed and athletics: recruit, retain, and reinvestment. And our program, about 20 years old, is at the point where I think we're reaping some of the benefits of high graduation rates, good numbers there, and that bodes well for the future of not only the program, but the university as a whole.
Yeah, it also helps, that focus. You have so many siblings who have come through. You get, one person. Then, for me, this will be my 7th year covering you guys, and I started seeing oh my God, brother, and that's happened with the women's lacrosse team. There's actually been at Salve, I think there was a feature last year about all the siblings who are on teams at Salve Regina. I think it's pretty incredible for your team, but also the university as a whole, that same kind of, like you said, that focus on why they want to be here. And you get that family feel with Salve Regina and people who all want to come here and be together.
Most definitely. In fact, Friday I had a legacy, a young man whose mom graduated here in 1993, I believe it was. So you see that it is a family atmosphere, and I think people are excited how well and how far the university has come in its short time. When you look at the big picture, under 100 years old, how far we've come, where we can go, it's amazing.
Yeah. Last question, Pat. Everybody is trying to overcome the challenges of what can we do now to prepare, finding creative ways to do things, creative ways to recruit. What have been any of the resources you found were most helpful in trying to figure out how can we run a practice without certain types of contact? How could I maybe get access to film? What have been the resources for you to try and find some of those creative solutions in planning?
I tell you, I've been blessed in the sense of I haven't found it challenging. It's different. It's different, and maybe that excites me too. I've been doing this long enough where I do like some change, and I'm excited about this year in many ways, whether it be recruiting, whether it's the current student athletes, the challenges with alumni, having us all connect on different levels throughout the year. But as a friend of mine says, every day is a new day in athletics. So I think I'm going to embrace that, and then it's more how you embrace that challenge. And I try to teach that to the team on a daily basis. It's not the situation that you can't control, but the one you can, and that's yourself, your attitude. So I've taken that into the recruiting end of things, and we've been out and about recruiting, so that hasn't been necessarily an issue. Moving forward with players, I think we'll work on skill sets. The NCAA has given us enough dates, even more time, where I think we're going to be fine. Just pray for the best, some good weather as well as good luck, and you'll see us do very well this year. I'm excited about the leadership. I'm excited about the conference, the school, and where we're going.
All right, great. Pat, great to see you as always, and great
Thank
stuff
you, Andrew.
today, and I look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Outstanding. Have a good day.
You too. All right, that's Pat Cooney, head coach of our men's lacrosse program. We are going to take a quick break and then be back with Eric Cirella of the South Virginia baseball team. We'll find out if he's ever hit a hole-in-one. Don't go anywhere.
Sorry about that. Been having a problem with muting the mics today. I'm Mike DeFusco, and this is Seahawk Talk. And joining us now is head baseball coach Eric Cirella. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm good. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you, Coach.
All right, great.
So first thing I wanted to bring up with you, you mentioned you wanted to talk a little bit just about sports in general this week. And one big thing did occur over this weekend with Justin Verlander out for the season now. He's going to have to get Tommy John, and he's already 37. They're anticipating he won't be back till 2022. How do you think, is he even going to be able to come back now at the age of about 40 after Tommy John?
I mean, I wouldn't put anything past him. I think some of the things he's figured out with his arsenal and his spin rate and I would be worried if that was a labrum or a rotator cuff or something like that. But I think obviously it's more difficult when you're 37 or 38 as opposed to maybe 27 or 28. But these major league organizations have the best people around and the best surgeons and the best rehab protocols and stuff. It's one of those things where if he wants to and he puts the work in, I think you'll see him back to full strength, and he can really pitch for as long as he wants to.
Right. Now, at the beginning of the show, we were talking a little bit about the uptick in injuries this year, kind of due to the fact guys didn't have as much time to prepare. Do you think that this Verlander injury is kind of due to that? And how do you think guys can, just make themselves better so this doesn't keep happening?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough it's difficult, I guess, to pinpoint, and unless I was able to ask him questions like, did you have forearm stiffness at some point? But certainly when you have spring training and then it gets shut down and you're home, you'd like to think that somebody that's worth, in the hundreds of millions of dollars has maybe a facility in his house and has the ability to throw to people. I think it's more so the fringe major leaguers or the guys who, um, you know, maybe don't have that sort of money to fall back on, and in a sense might be living more of a paycheck to paycheck life, that can't build a room in their house or an addition or put a whatever just so that they can throw and they can do their workouts. I think it probably affected those guys a little bit more, but certainly then getting it and ramping it back up is never good for anyone. And you can see with how we try and do it with the pitchers, and guys who threw a lot first in the spring and then went out and threw a lot in the summer. Those guys are normally shut down, and they're lifting and they're resting their arms, or they're just playing catch and doing some long toss programs, and then they're shut down, from October to the middle of December. I think that 2 months is important. But anytime you take a major league player and you get them out of their routine, because what makes these guys great is their ability to plan and stay in a routine. So when you take them out of that and you throw something new into the mix, you're going to have a lot more injuries.
Right. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of it in football. We were reading off just a plethora of injuries that happened over this weekend. Have you had the chance to watch much football? Have you seen the new look Patriots at all?
Yeah, I mean, I watched a little of them last night, and I certainly followed what happened with the results, and it's been a busy weekend getting acclimated with some new coaches, and then we had kind of a prospect camp yesterday. But no, I mean, I think, look, the Patriots are well coached. There's going to be some hiccups early in the year I mean, look at last year. People started saying, "Oh, could they be undefeated?" They're 8-0, and then but they didn't really play anybody. And when you play a team like Seattle, who was in the Super Bowl a few years ago, and any team has stability at the coaching position and at the quarterback position, I think is going to have an advantage in a COVID season like we're in. So I did the Packers end up pulling it out yesterday. I knew they scored a ton of points. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but when you see stability at the coaching position and you see stability at the quarterback position, and then you look at like the Jets, who have had 6 different head coaches in the last 10 years and probably 15 different starting quarterbacks. I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs.
Right.
They're just
Right.
that's what you're looking for in the NFL. Injuries happen. I think you're looking for teams with depth, and it's too bad the guy Barkley got hurt, but I think that's more of a freak incident than anything else. So I just always look at head coaches and that stability, and then a quarterback who can run the offense. And anytime you get somebody new in there, or a rookie quarterback, flip a coin.
Right. Now, I know it's a small sample size, but have you enjoyed watching this new kind of offense, more running, more QB runs than the Tom Brady style of just drop back and let it fly kind of?
I've always thought that the Patriots offense was very innovative, and They had a lot of, movement and shifting, and they could do a hurry up offense, or they could take a drive down the field and waste 7 minutes of time and not let the other team get on the field and, kill the other team's defense while they're doing it. I think I think it's all fun. I think that that's what the best teams do is you know, you see what you have, and then you make adjustments on the fly. And it's kind of the same in baseball. It's especially in college baseball. Where maybe not as much as Major League Baseball, but in college baseball, if you have a great pitching staff, then sometimes you're more apt to put uh, consistency out on the field, for your offense, and you're more apt to put better defensive players because it's going to help your pitchers. And you can always pinch hit and move guys around late. I think that certainly. But going back to the Patriots question, I mean, it was fun to watch it while I did watch it, and I did see some highlights. It looked like it was a great game, and certainly it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But Bill Belichick's as good as it gets, and that guy's, I'm sure he might have slept 3 hours last night, and he's back at the drawing board getting ready for this week.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Now I know you mentioned there was a prospect camp over the weekend, and that was a combined camp with Rhode Island College, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. So, with the inability to have anything on campus, the Rhode Island College coach went and formed an LLC called 401 Baseball, and so we just figured that because we had so many kids reaching out to us, about interest in the school, that the smart thing to do would be to invite them to camp. And so they invited guys, we invited guys, and our staffs both worked the event, and there was one or two other colleges there in attendance to watch, but fairly typical to what you're used to and what we've done in the past. Just it was at Cardine, so it was a little different. But we're done by 3:00, and it's you just see what you can at a showcase, and some guys showcase well and some guys don't, and that's why more important than a showcase is seeing guys throughout the summer. So the showcase is really nice for the guy you've seen a few times and you know what you're going to get, but you just want maybe your staff to see him, or maybe Coach McKeon's seen a guy a couple times. He's like, hey, what do you think? I like this kid on defense. Do you think his bat works? What do you think here with the upside? Or that's where a showcase really works, is someone you've seen a few times and you just want to see him one more time, or see if he's receptive to making an adjustment, offensively or as a pitcher, or something. Like you see something, and as a coach, you can't really go up to him and say, hey, why don't you try to grip the ball like this? Or can you do this? And to me, that's where I like a showcase, is there's something that you like and you want to see if a kid is willing to be coached. Because I mean, there's things we've tried to do with you, and some of them you're really receptive to, and other times, you get it feels weird.
Right.
Which is right. It does feel weird, and it should feel weird. But if you just want to kind of see if a kid's willing to be coached, because whether or not, I mean, my job is pointless if guys don't want to make any adjustments. And that's the same for
Now,
any coach.
Very true. Now, how do you differentiate? Now, I'm curious for you. You talked about can you tell a difference between a guy who's just having a good day at a prospect camp and a guy who's actually, is going to be consistent? Or is there anything specifically you look at to be able to really tell who's going to be a player and who's just kind of faking it for the day?
I'll be honest with you. That's the $1 million question. And I think if you ask most college coaches and you look at, guys who you recruited and guys who you offered at the Division III level a roster spot, and maybe at the Division II or I level you offer them something a little bit greater, like scholarship money or whatnot. I think the majority of college coaches would say, if you're going to get fooled, you get fooled at a showcase because a kid just has a great day. I can certainly think of a number of kids that fooled us. So that kind of goes back to my point originally, is like, you really want to have seen guys before, because you know that at a showcase, a kid who did bad is not, the truth's somewhere in the middle. You're not as good as you were. You're not as bad as you were. Um, you know, so if you have a frame of reference where you saw a kid play a couple times, at least now you know. But sometimes at showcase, you're just looking for, an adjustment. You're looking for a kid you saw in high school. Obviously, we weren't able to do that, but a kid you saw in high school, like Dylan Ketch is a good example. I saw Dylan early in June, and then when he had come back in September, maybe, or the last week of August, he had put on like 10, 12 pounds. He looked like he filled in a little bit. And, to me, I wasn't sure how serious he was about baseball at the time. And just upon seeing him for our visit, I asked him, hey, did you put on some weight? And, sure enough, he had been working out. And that, for me, that solidified, like, let's recruit this kid, because he does care about his body, and he's he's playing at the next level. So sometimes it's just something like that stands out. But yes, you will get fooled if you've never heard of a guy, never seen a guy. He has a great day. You really got to go back and make some phone calls and see some video and talk to some people, because there's probably a glaring deficiency that you didn't see because maybe he wasn't hit the ball, or he, sometimes you just face, maybe you get 3 at bats and you face 3 kids who are never going to pitch in college. And you're like, so as a coach, you can script things like, hey, let me put this pitcher first, and let me put the lineup this way, so that at least you can see some of the matchups that you want to see, and see if the pitcher is good enough to get out quality hitters, or vice versa.
Right. Now, also, we had a really good question come in there from the comment section. If Joey wants to pull that up, this is from Greg K. He said, "What's your take on the MLB trying? What's your take on what the MLB is trying to do by scaling back the number of affiliated minor league teams? Lots of opportunities going away and top prospects being rushed."
I mean, I think the two sides of it is obviously, Greg K's point, where, there's a lot of opportunities being lost. I think the other side of it is, you have all these major league, or you have all these draft picks or minor league players who are forced to, unless they have a big signing bonus. I mean, these guys are getting paid nothing. It's like below minimum wage what these guys are being paid for the hours that they're putting in, and then sometimes playing at substandard facilities. Now, I am all for opportunity. I think in a perfect world they get rid of no minor league teams, because the popularity in baseball has never been greater, and you've seen a lot of changes in the game, some of them good, some of them bad, that we could sit here and argue about. But what you really want to see is, you want to see, these guys getting taken care of, and not having to finish a season and then, work at Home Depot for 50 hours a week to get benefits, and, give lessons, and still have to work out and take care of their body and stuff like that. I mean, some of the articles you read about how these minor leaguers are getting treated, and I know just from being an independent ball for a little while, like, what are you going to do on a $500 or $550 a month paycheck, that when taxes get taken out and you're trying to figure out, what do I want to have, a Happy Meal, or, some beef jerky at 7-Eleven? Like, I got no money. I got college bills to pay. I got car bills to pay. I got to pay for my housing, and, I'm getting paid nothing. So I just wish they took care of the players. Obviously, I think it hurts Division III baseball, because there's going to be less rounds in the draft and less need to draft players. And so great stories like guys who battled their way through the minor leagues, in make it to the major leagues after whatever 6, 7, 8, 9 years of just grinding it out. You're going to see less and less of that. But you're going to also see less of, like, the kid for Tampa Bay, the lefty pitcher who pitched at Webster, or the kid who was at Adrian, Tommy Parsons, who's on the brink of making the major leagues. I just think you're going to see less stories like that, and it's a shame. you
Right.
know, it's
The
not
life of a minor leaguer is definitely not a beautiful one, to say the very least. I mean, you just saw Greg K right there. It's like almost a crime what these guys are, getting paid.
right. I mean,
It's tough. It's all for the dream.
you're just surprised that like the Supreme Court hasn't stepped in, or like somebody. It's ridiculous. And I say it to you guys, Michael, and this is the truth: is that college baseball, until you make it to the major leagues, college baseball is the last time where the game is so pure and you're playing for the right reasons. You're playing for the team, because once you make it to the minor leagues, you're not like, they could care less about winning and losing. You're constantly showcasing yourself for all the executives on your within your organization, but also for every other organization out there who might be looking for an abnormality in the market, that buy low, sell high kind of thing, who could maybe acquire you if you get released, or in a trade or something like that. Like, it's not the way baseball should be played, like it is in college, where you're
Right.
you're probably not bunting much in the minor leagues, or you're not doing some of the things that we do in college baseball, and I think that's what makes it so pure.
I think you hit on a really good point with that. There's like there's lack of emphasis on winning in the minor leagues. It's all about, you're right, just showcasing your ability. Do you think if there was some way to make like these sort of I don't want to say like separate leagues, but just leagues that are, maybe not affiliated so much, so there's more an emphasis on having to win just to keep the teams and sales afloat. That way they can get paid a little bit more too, because they're not just dependent, they're not just getting the leftovers, the scraps from the MLB, the big MLB
Sure,
club.
sure. I mean, I think you're going to have to see. I think there's going to be a high demand for at least more independent leagues to pop up, and they they can certainly, depending on the league and whatnot. I mean, I remember the Frontier League I thought it was such a great league just because they had to keep a certain amount of rookies on their team each year, as opposed to some of the other leagues. So I just felt like the opportunity there was a little bit better than maybe in the Can-Am League. But you just want to see guys get taken care of. And the sad part too is, like, some of those guys, that's all they have is baseball. They gave up on their education to become a baseball player, and that was kind of the breaking point for me, where it was like, hey, you can play at this level, uh, but you have a great college degree to now go out and maybe make some money, or make something yourself in the real world. And it was just sad for me to see some of these guys who had to hang on for years and years and years, going from affiliated ball to independent ball, who just didn't have an education to fall back on.
Right. Now, Coach, we're getting towards the end of the segment here. I just want to ask you one more question,
Okay.
especially because I have class at 4 o'clock. So, but anyway, so one of the things you mentioned in your questionnaire we sent you was that you went golfing last week with Matt Finn, Coach Lund, Coach Sakara. Now, you mentioned you golfed a couple weeks ago. Is this a different outing that you went to this week?
Yeah. So, Matt had reached out earlier in the week about possibly playing on Wednesday, and I don't know if Jody caught wind or not, but she basically, said she would foot the bill if we took Coach Lund and Coach Zakar out. And so, long story short, gave us a great opportunity to talk as colleagues and coworkers. And Coach Lund is new, so it was just nice for him to, I'm sure, get out of his house and do something fun. And he's got a really, really good swing. He didn't score too well, but he very athletic. Like, he's just someone you look at like, man, if you played. And I think he might have 2 children, but he definitely has a newborn baby. And I can't imagine it's easy to get out of the house and golf when you have a newborn like that. So he took a few good swings early, and Coach Zaccaro said, all right, me and Coach Lund will take you two. And we went, and it was a really good game until I think we put it away on a big hole late, a par 3, I think the 17th. So Matt Finn and I, were victorious in the team aspect, and I had a great front. But Coach Sakara is quite a character. It's fun to golf with him, and just he's very unorthodox, but it certainly doesn't look or act his age. Just a fun guy to be around. It was a good day. There's so much going on that it's great to just get out on the golf course.
Yeah, it's great to get outside. Well, Coach, it was good. It's great to have you on. Best of luck with you starting ball this weekend. I'll see you there on Friday. So thanks again, Coach. Have a good rest of your day.
All right. Enjoy class. Talk to you soon.
All right. That was Coach Eric Cirella. I'm Mike Diffusco. We're take a quick break and be back for our final segment. Don't go anywhere. Hey, everybody, we're back, and we're going to bring in Jody Mooradian, our producer. Oh, sorry, guys. Can you hear me now? No? Joey?
Nope. I mean,
All
I
right,
can't hear you.
take over for me.
Hold on, let me-
Anything now? All right, Joey, take it
Okay,
over
now
for
I
me
hear
because
you.
I think they can. All right, cool. All right, Joey. Sorry about that, but anyway, we're gonna wrap up the show now. We had a great time talking today, and just one more quick thing we wanted to highlight here before we go is just today actually the MLB Players Association released some very positive news that they're going to be putting in $10 million to increase Black representation in baseball, just getting people more involved in organizations and everything. Just wanted to quickly mention that after a great talk with Coach Cirella right there at baseball. So, Joe, you got anything else for us before we head off?
No, not really. I think that's a great way to wrap it up. And I hadn't even seen that. So I'm glad you brought it up because I think that's great. Like I love all these, big companies, not that the MLB is a company. I guess they're an organization putting a ton of money into this kind of stuff to, increase diversity. I think baseball's always been pretty good. Like they can obviously everyone can do a little bit better, but baseball at least has a good diversity. It's not, just a bunch of white guys playing a sport. Like
most definitely.
Yeah,
now, it's great to see all these organizations, giving back to the community. So very good to hear. We had a great time today. Thank you guys for watching. Reminding you we'll be back tomorrow as always at the same time. And we will have on Jim Fowler, Janelle Iaquinto, Adam Sakara, and Matt Hurd. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to stream us tomorrow and have a good day, everybody, and stay safe.